Hi, my name is Jessica Jagdeo, and for my presentation, I chose to address the rising concerns for anxiety among college age students across the country, as 61% of college students report experiencing anxiety. As time goes by, higher education is becoming more and more accessible to people of all backgrounds. On average, most students attend college for 4 to 5 years and range from 18 to 23 years old. Of this special population, college students come from a variety of racial, ethnic, and religious backgrounds, and include students born here in the U.S. and international students. In many ways, mental health does not discriminate, and when it comes to academic related anxiety, students of all ethnicities, genders, and socioeconomic backgrounds suffer for short term and long term periods that can have a negative impact on their overall health and social life. However, when it comes to predisposing characteristics, anxiety disproportionately impacts women, international, and out of state students. Stress is a natural and healthy part of life that helps us in dangerous situations and motivates us in our daily life. However, prolonged stress and anxiety can have a significant and long term impact on physical and mental health and lead to negative social behaviors. Anxiety is the top presenting concern among college students, followed by depression and relationship problems. Anxiety can be a very personal experience, and depending on the person, anxiety can be triggered by a variety of different factors that they may or may not be aware of. For the most part, anxiety results in persistent worry and fear over situations the person cannot control, and can manifest physically in an increased heart rate, rapid breathing, sweating, fatigue, and in extreme cases, panic attacks. For many people, anxiety is a fleeting experience that comes around every once in a while, but for others, it can be a daily struggle that can inhibit them from performing in their daily life and forming important social relationships. For many college students, stress stems from a variety of different sources, the most obvious being academic pressures, which are most apparent during midterms and finals, especially for those applying to graduate schools. Cell phone use has also become a major stressor. A study showed that two-thirds of university students use their phones while in class, leading to feelings of unproductiveness and lack of knowledge. Besides academic stressors, social stressors are also very common for college students, and many students with social anxiety use alcohol and drugs to cope, which is reinforced by the emergence of social media, where students feel pressured to post about what they are doing. Other factors like familial pressures and financial burdens can also become strenuous, as attending college, working, and living alone for the first time can be a lot of responsibility to maintain. Luckily for most college students, quality counseling is readily and easily accessible on almost all college campuses, free of cost across the country. One study showed that the prevalence of counseling requests is highest 3 to 4 weeks into the semester, and also after midterms, where academic stressors are at an all-time high. In addition, for those whose parents are insured, students are covered well into their 20s and are also able to seek help outside of school resources. Another enabling characteristic would be support from family and friends. For some students, getting support from their family and friends is something they are more comfortable with than seeking outside support. However, not all students can easily seek out this type of support or feel like they can go to these types of people for help. Other barriers would also be the lack of education, of resources available on college campuses or in the community, or even a lack of self awareness, as not everyone is able to identify anxiety as an issue that they struggle with. One of the major issues that college students with anxiety run into is the mentality that everyone is stressed and they're fine, therefore I should be too. This leads to compounding stress and isolation, as students choose to address their concerns internally instead of seeking outside help. Some students also struggle with determining whether or not their anxiety is severe enough to seek help in the first place. Despite the lengths our society has gone to make those with mental health concerns feel accepted, stigma is still alive and well. Need characteristics are very personal, and those with other mental health struggles, especially depression, are at a higher risk for developing anxiety. However, all forms of anxiety are and all levels are valid, and students should always feel like they can seek help when it's needed or wanted. Living with anxiety can result in a wide array of consequences and unhealthy coping mechanisms. Binge drinking is a major problem on college campuses, with about 40% of students admitting to engaging in binge drinking behaviors. This, in addition to low quality sleeping habits, can lead to a life of minimal exercise, unhealthy diet, and suppressed immune systems. In addition, Those struggling with anxiety are at a higher risk for experiencing burnout, and as a consequence, dropping out of university or being dismissed after letting their grades drop too low. It's consequences like these that stress the importance of seeking out help when anxiety is manageable and at a time where students can recover academically. At the University of Florida, there are a variety of resources available to students struggling with all types of mental health illnesses. When it comes to anxiety, we have our own Fear and Anxiety Clinic, who have a website breaking down all the different forms of anxiety and other mental health disorders associated. Even though they are not currently accepting patients, the Health Psychology Clinic is, and if you or someone you know needs to be evaluated, that's where you should go. Online anxiety counseling is also an option, and at the Wellness Center, this is currently being tested out, and many students are finding this resource convenient and accessible. In the meantime, little changes that could help are participating in study groups, taking time for self care, and setting locks on your cell phone to control social media use while studying. Anxiety isn't the only mental health challenge common among college age students. Depression and eating disorders are also serious concerns all across the U.S. as numbers are slowly rising. Depression and eating disorders can lead to anxiety, and with suicide rates rising among college age students, it's important for all students to be educated on how to recognize mental health concerns within ourselves as well as within our fellow classmates. Some discussion questions I have are: how would you improve the resources already available here at UF to make them more accessible to students in need? And what are the advantages and disadvantages of seeking mental health counseling on a college campus?